time for the press review. A first look at what's on the front pages and analysis of the big stories. We begin with our sister publication, as usual, This Day newspaper. While it's leading with the president's busy day yesterday, Tinubu seeks partnership with state governors to end extreme poverty, directs NEC to develop measures to cushion effects of petrol subsidy removal. Governors pledge support for policies of new government. Petroleum marketers back policy to donate 100 CNG compliant buses for mass transportation. There are two notable pictures on the front page of our sister publication this morning. That of the president and his secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, yesterday at the swearing-in, just moments after he took his oath of allegiance and oath of office. The second picture is that of the family of Peter Pan Nahoro, who was laid to rest yesterday in London. His wife and his children pictured there. Well, to some other stories now on the front page. President canvasses EU support in fight against insecurity, poverty in Africa. He put a call through yesterday to the European Council chair. And underneath that picture of the president and his SGF, Huriwa calls for Sirika's arrest over alleged fraudulent Nigeria air. Above the nameplate this morning, 10th Senate presidency. Tinubu meets senators-elect today. Aggrieved aspirants set to unveil unity lists tomorrow. Yari pledges support for new administration. Zoning endorsing aspirants undemocratic, says group. Wase adamant as Dogara urges other contestants to step down. Finally, federal government to incur additional 2 trillion naira liabilities as Senate passes police pension board bill. That's the front page of This Day. Interesting stories there.
The same in The Guardian, some interesting stories. Let's start with The Guardian. Let's start with the uproar of NMPC's sleazy $25.9 billion ore swap, 13.9 trillion naira subsidy payment. Then, of course, you see, I'll do my best. Akume promises at inauguration as SGF. Ensure your appointments reflect merit, diversity. Khan is advising the president. Atiku laments inability to access INEC materials after paying 6.69 million naira to the commission. Ondo cabinet splits over Akredolu's incapacitation. And just below that picture, subsidy removal. Tinubu meets all marketers, directs NEC on interventions. And Nigeria loses $2.7 billion on beans exportation ban. That's for The Guardian.
Well, The Punch leads with subsidy. Tinubu orders Shetima governors to work on salaries, palliatives. Start work, Tinubu tells NEC as 22 governors, marketers back subsidy removal or your planned salary increase. Labour gives June 19 ultimatum on 20,000 naira minimum wage. Above the masthead this morning, National Assembly, Tinubu, APC move to appease anti-zoning members. Poor debt-ridden states give governors jumbo exit package. The irony of that, an ex-SGF hands over Boko Haram detainees, Mago's cases to Akume. This and many others on the front page of The Punch.
The Sun newspaper, the Daily Sun. FG plans earners you work pay policy, number of hours in office, quality of work churned out will determine remuneration. Tribunal, Tinubu INEC opposed testimony by ad hoc staff. How I rescued INEC staff from attack over failure to upload results. Khan advises Khan president slams El-Rufai over comment on same faith ticket. Tinubu swears in Akume. Governors back president on subsidy removal. Major oil marketers donate 150-seater buses. President approves commencement of intervention programs. It's an insult to say LP dictating for NLC. Ajero, the NLC chief, is saying that anxiety over alleged plot to secretly inaugurate Enugu Assembly. Clark says it's a foolish rumor. And then by the side of the Sun logo, Senate presidency, Carlo Yeri is in our source negotiations reach advanced stage. as support base of senators-elect hits 67.
Let's quickly look at the foreign papers. The Financial Times, well, the New York skyline makes the front page of the FT as strong smog from Canada's wildfires fills the air in the U.S. city. But the major story on the front page of the Financial Times this morning, U.S. Treasury's $1 trillion borrowing spree set to increase strain on bank system.
All right, one more paper at the time before we'll go to Emmanuel. Sunak ready to approve Johnson's owners list. You see Duke Harry's picture there. Emotional Duke says he went to court for his wife, Meghan. Let's bring in Emmanuel. Emmanuel, good morning to you.
Story there, yeah. Indeed. Good morning.
How did I say, is it Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet? All right, because you talked about love story. All right, Tinubu seeks partnership with state governors to end extreme poverty. And then Huriwa there is calling for Sirika's arrest over alleged fraudulent Nigerian air. That's not the only story here. You have the 10th Senate presidency. Tinubu meets senators-elect today. Look at those stories, Emmanuel.
Well, yeah, I think we've been having Tinubu back-to-back throughout this week.
Yeah.
He's had a very busy week.
He's been busy.
A busy man. One way of also telling his traducers that, look, in spite of all that was said during the campaigns about my health status, my cognitive abilities and everything, I'm trying to get some things done. And one of the things he did yesterday, that was a strong showing, himself and all the governors coming together. It's been a while we've seen that kind of, photo up, it's good for the optics at least. But beyond the optics, the president, playing his role as the leader of the federation, told these governors to do something about the current hardship experienced everywhere. He got a very strong backing, strong push. The Nigerian Governors Forum supporting him and saying yes, this should go. I think that for me ends the controversy of whether these prices have come to stay or not, unless again if the market forces says otherwise. So you've got these governors, a very strong forum of the governors themselves, banding themselves together as a group and saying they are supporting President Tinubu on the removal of the fuel subsidy. But they put the president was able to say, look, it's still up to you guys to do something about it. Do something in your state, cushion the effect, introduce measures, palliatives. If it means cutting down work days like Edo State has done, Edo State is reducing working days to just 3 days. Okay, Kwara has done that. So states are going to look inwards now to think about what to do. Maybe cut down on the cost of governance, probably spend more money on increasing the minimum wage, or actually providing other sort of palliatives around the issue of transportation.
Like the marketers are promising.
Exactly. That sort of thing. The marketers are saying they're going to provide. They were part of the problem, but now they're going to be also part of the solution. So I think what Tinubu is doing is putting the solutions squarely in the hands of the people who control the rest of the country. And you agree with me indeed that the governors are very powerful. The fate of this whole country lies on what these 36
He made some nationalistic statements.
Exactly,
Telling the governors, even though we belong to different parties, it's about Nigeria, and we should all harmonize to make sure that we bless the Nigerian people, stop poverty, and all. Quite some nationalistic.
Yes, nationalistic, and also very proverbial. He said we are in one big house, but we're in different rooms. I mean, that
a family.
Family. That's it's vintage Tinubu who talks that way most of the time. Fatherly, almost in that role. So it's up to the governors now to begin to think of very creative 21st century oriented solutions, ideas on how to cut costs, 1, 2, introduce palliatives that are just beyond platitudes, and 3, to actually measure how those palliatives are really working to alleviate the suffering in their states. Some of the governors are already, they've hit the ground running on those matters, introducing better pay packages, reduced number of days, maybe more holidays for workers, and of course, probably they will have to think of promotions, they will have to think of better training, and I think a lot of people will be happy if transportation is dealt with, and of course, if you can pay, hospital fees and take away the crisis of school fees from from parents and all of that. So it means more money in the hands of the governors too, indeed, because when you take away those savings accruable from the removal of it means the governors are going to have more money. So they have no excuse not to introduce measures to alleviate the suffering.
Well, Emmanuel, it does look like the controversy around Nigeria is not going away. Just the day after the Green Chambers, the lower house of the National Assembly, declared it fraud, you're having the Human Rights Writers Association call for the arrest of the immediate past minister who oversaw this whole project, talking about Hadi Sirika. What do you make of this?
Well, I just it's what almost everybody is talking about, and it's amazing that I don't see that story being reviewed in the papers. I think these days probably have it's carrying water. Maybe they have it chuck in somewhere in the pages. But it's a good thing that this day has kept the matter on the front burner with what Huriwa is saying, Emmanuel Wobiko, coming out so strongly to speak. Very strongly about it, and actually calling for the arrest. This is why it's what almost everybody is talking about, because in this story, it's not just a corruption story, one of corruption story. It's also about deception. It's also about the mockery, the embarrassment that Nigeria has been subjected to. It's Ethiopia, for God's sake, and we have to borrow an aircraft from Ethiopia, design it. And what is even mind-boggling at this way is when you look at the amount that was spent on that jamboree, on what is practically fake. We've had corruption stories in this country. Guardian is running with one this morning on the oil subsidy. We'll come to that. We've seen cases. We've seen mind-boggling, corruption drama around this country. Sometimes bordering on almost what looks like insanity when you begin to look at the amounts involved. But I think this, for me, actually takes the award if this was an award giving situation. The very notion that we could actually take an aircraft from a country that is far below us in every ramification and then design it and say that is our own carrier. It exposes us to not just international ridicule, but further deepen the crisis of acceptability of the Nigerian nation.
It's indeed shrouded in secrecy, but there are reports that some of the contract, or the business contract, does entail that Ethiopia provides the aircraft, isn't it? So when you say we borrow aircraft from Ethiopia,
yeah, I mean those are the very thing that no matter how you try to explain it, it's it beats every kind of reasoning that you borrow this aircraft and then you display. What's the rush? I mean, and some people were saying that this happened at the very end of the Buhari administration. What was the rush all about? If we're not ready for a carrier, Ethiopia didn't do that, and Ethiopia has a very robust aviation industry, but ours precedes that long time ago. If we want to restore the glory of aviation, that's probably not the way to go.
All right. Let's look at the Guardian. Uproar over NNPC sleazy $25.9 billion oil swap and 13.9 trillion naira subsidy payment. I cover the Nation, State of the Nation address of the APC Professional Forum, while the former aviation minister, Nkema Okeke, was talking about the fact that if people don't get punished, if the judiciary is not reformed, things will keep happening that way. America is not better than us or anywhere in the world. And then the chairman of the forum, former governor of Bauchi State, Isaiah Guda, spoke in the same vein as LP candidate for the presidency, former governor of Anambra State, that the whole thing about subsidy is a scam. So what do you make of that story?
Yes, I mean, but over the years, throughout the scam, like you're saying, we didn't hear of too much punishment. We didn't hear of any name calling. We didn't hear of anything. And people get away with it. So you look at a story like this today, this morning on the front page of The Guardian, you ask yourself, so who is going to do anything about it? I think that has become part of the problem. The fact that everybody can just get away with a piece of the cake and just almost at no consequence or no repercussions. And this emboldens the thieves. It strengthens and weakens the judicial system. And then crime and punishment is relegated to the background. It makes this kind of story almost a routine one. And I think that is why maybe we in the media probably we must be taxed to stay on this kind of story again and again and bring them to the front burner, even if nothing is going to be done about it. But to get to that point where we get used to this, where we think it's business as usual.
Set an agenda for the government.
Well, yeah, we must do that, but we must always also continue to beam the searchlight on some of these really, really mind-boggling cases of, corruption all around us.
Do we still have time for one quick story? Okay.
Go ahead.
I think we do. So, Iman, let's start with the front page of The Guardian. Two stories that are catching my attention this morning. I'd like your comment on them. Article laments inability to access INEC materials after paying 6.9 million naira to the commission. And there's the story of the Christian Association of Nigeria to the president, telling him to ensure that his appointment reflects merit and diversity. We've seen the first appointee take his oath of allegiance and oath of office, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. What do you make of these two stories, Emmanuel?
Briefly, quite briefly.
Well, yes, but Khan is right. It has to be, those appointments will have to be based on merit. Because
round
we're not
pegs
just
in round holes.
Yeah, we're not just talking about appointment, we're talking about decision making. We're talking about quality decisions that will change our situation. So when appointments are made, of course, you might want to just satisfy some interest. You might want to give jobs to the boys. You might just want to do some things. But it's a good call. Yes, it's a good call indeed that, look, let it be based on merit. Let it be based on people who can actually deliver. And they should be measurable. And people shouldn't be comfortable getting appointments and just sitting there. If they're not doing the right thing, this president must learn how to sack, how to hire and fire. He must learn that. It's not a case of where people just get a job, stay there all day like his predecessor did. People not doing their job and just staying there. Hesh road. Nigerians will clap for him, we applaud him if he hires these people and fires them when they are not doing very well. So yes, it should reflect our diversity, no doubt. But yes, merit, experience, efficiency, and the ability to deliver should be on the top burner.
Oh, well capped, Emmanuel, there. Thank you. That's the press preview, but let's hear your view on all the burning issues. Follow us on Twitter at AriseTV.